How's it going, guys? Happy Thanksgiving. I thought I would jump on here real quick and just give a quick training on one of the biggest frustrations, and I want to share a quick strategy with you. Biggest frustrations when it comes to letting go and empowering your team members to start taking on more responsibility and take some of that burden of ownership off your shoulders. So what I want to share with you are this was one of those huge epiphanies for me when I realized I thought I was doing it right, but I was missing a key distinction when it came to letting go and delegating, handing things off with confidence. So most businesses, where they stop is by just focusing on measuring the results. And I'll give you a couple examples. So let's say that you have a sales team and you're focusing strictly on your KPIs, your key performance indicators, on the number of sales and the number of quotes they're putting out there, right? That's the result. And this is where most businesses stop. They focus just on the result, but what that does is you're leaving the door open to potentially some bad behaviors. So a good example of this would be, let's say you've got a salesperson who's got good numbers on the surface, good KPIs, they're closing lots of deals, but on the other hand, they're not filling out their CRM, their paperwork properly. There are errors in calculating the quotes. There's also people that are pissed off because they're just going at it, not representing your company properly. So if you were to just look at the results, the KPIs, they would look strong, but you see this wake of challenges that otherwise are proving to be not healthy for your business and your reputation. So how do you solve for this? The big epiphany that I had was the results are really important, right? Because we all need targets to be aspiring towards so that we can say at the end of a day or the end of a week, we can look back and say, I did a good job. I can measurably and tangibly see the fruits of my labor this week. If everybody in your business can do that, you're headed in the right direction. So here's the other strategy. Here's the other piece that's really, really critical and important. And I'm going to talk about it in two dimensions. So the other piece, results, is number one. Number two is behaviors. That's what we're talking about, is behaviors. And by behaviors, I mean, in those examples, when it comes to managing the pipeline, managing the deals, in the sales example, a behavior would be things like filling out paperwork properly, calculating an estimate or a quote properly. When you're adding a deal into your CRM, sales management system, you want to have the first name, last name, email, telephone number, title. What does it look like when it's done correctly in terms of your standards? Think about in terms of behaviors, the nurse at the hospital doing their rounds, right? The behavior that you want in the hospital, and this can be a potentially life or death situation, is the behavior you want is to, when you're doing your rounds, to really double check, make sure that you're getting the right medications to the right people, et cetera, et cetera. So those are behaviors that are really, really critical. And the absence of these behaviors, if they're done incorrectly, could have drastic consequences. So that was a sales example. We talked about the nurses doing their rounds. Another example would just be filling out paperwork correctly, right? So how you solve for this is there are two kind of ways that I look at behaviors. One is general, and the other is specific. So general behaviors and specific behaviors. So what you want to do with your team members is you want to have these written into their job description. So you've got your targets. Here are your measurables in terms of your results. And then here are the behaviors, right? And so general behaviors are your core values. So this is the importance of having core values in your business. So for us, one of our core values is, one is we serve, one is, safety first and foremost, results, only work environment, right? So we focus on results and not on just kind of looking like you're busy all day, all week. So why are core values so, they're often overlooked, but I think they're one of the most important things that you can have in your business. And here's why. When it comes to core values and you're talking about a specific behavior, when you have them in place, now it's not personal. You can manage against the system rather than against the person, right? And so you're focusing not on the person when people step out of line with these general behaviors in terms of, we serve or results only work environment. When you're talking about the importance of hitting these results, it's not personal. We're measuring against our core values, which we've said, here's what it means and looks like to be a great team member at our business. It's not for everyone, but if you want to be successful in our business, those are my kids, this is what it looks like. So core values are the general behaviors, and that's how you articulate those to your team. Specific behaviors are just what we talked about. Expectations are filling out paperwork correctly, accurately, on time. When we enter a new deal or a new contact into our CRM, here's what it looks like. Here's the specific behavior, and this is some of the stuff that you document so that you have a single source of truth and you can manage against the system. And it really makes for a less political environment because your focus is on the system, and everybody can be really clean and clear about here's what it looks like to be a great employee in terms of results, but also in terms of behaviors. And so if you can articulate these areas within your responsibilities and your job roles within your business and manage against those, you're going to solve for a lot of the otherwise, the contentious issues that'll come up when you're managing people, and the drama and just pushing back and people arguing and interpreting a million different ways of doing things, where in your mind you've got the standard. But you have to understand that people, even if they have the best of intentions, unless you're clear in terms of what the expected behaviors look like, then you're just going to get the same result. And a good example of this is, I call it the Santa Claus strategy. Think about with Christmas, where you give your kids the threat of, you better be good, otherwise Santa Claus won't bring you any presents, right? Well, they need to understand what is being good look like specifically. It means doing your chores, saying please and thank you. So we really need to be clear in terms of what does being good look like. And the same is true in your company. What are those behaviors look like? What is what does being good look like in the context of your roles within your business? So hope that's helpful, but I just want to share that with you because it's coming up quite frequently, and I think this is one of those things that by solving this one thing, you're going to solve 1,000 things, and it's going to really clear up a lot of the things that might be frustrating you when it comes to managing your team. So hope that's helpful, and I'll talk